Welcome to a peaceful Sunday morning. Today we join Boo and Lula as they show us the beauty of slowing down. In a small bedroom filled with soft golden sunlight, Mama Cat Boo stirred gently. She opened her eyes slowly, as if she didn't want to disturb the peaceful calm wrapped around her. The alarm clock beside the bed showed a later time than usual. Boo tilted her head toward the calendar on the wall. Sunday. No rushing today. A soft smile warmed her face. She turned to look beside her. Little Lula was curled up tight, hugging her small pillow, breathing slow and steady. Her tiny ears twitched when the sunlight brushed across them. Boo gently stroked her daughter's head, slow and careful, as if protecting the sweet dreams Lula was still having. Then she quietly slipped out of bed. Lula shifted slightly, hugging her pillow a little tighter. Boo paused for a moment, her eyes full of love, before gently closing the bedroom door halfway and walking toward the kitchen. In the kitchen, Boo tied on her familiar deep blue apron. Morning sunlight streamed through the window, painting warm streaks across the countertop. She lined up vegetables, eggs, and bread neatly on the counter. The soft sizzle of eggs hitting the pan filled the air. A pot of soup steamed gently, its cozy aroma drifting through their little home. Every movement was slow and steady, like a soft morning melody. Back in the bedroom, Lula blinked her eyes open. She stretched, rubbed her sleepy eyes, and climbed down from the bed. The half-open door glowed with warm golden light from the kitchen. Lula peeked out, her sleepy eyes watching her mama move around. Without hesitation, she ran in and wrapped her arms around Boo's leg. Boo paused, then bent down and lifted Lula into her arms. They looked at each other, and Lula smiled, a smile as bright and clear as morning sunshine. On the table sat two cleaning cloths. Lula pointed at one, her eyes sparkling with the desire to help. Boo understood immediately and handed her the smaller cloth. Lula began wiping the table in messy little circles, concentrating so hard that her tiny tongue peeked out. Boo simply watched, smiling patiently, letting her try. Suddenly, Lula wiped a little too hard. A small flower vase tipped over, water spilled onto the floor, flowers rolled away. Lula froze, her ears drooped. She looked down, clutching the cloth tightly in her paws. For a few worried seconds, the room felt very still. But Boo did not get upset. She calmly set the vase upright, arranged the flowers back in place, and gently wiped up the spilled water. Then she handed the cloth back to Lula and motioned for them to do it together. Lula looked up, a little fear still in her eyes. Then she knelt down and carefully wiped the floor. This time, slower, more focused. Boo nodded and softly patted her head. Quiet pride shone in her eyes. Breakfast was ready. Lula climbed onto her chair, slipping just a little, but Boo caught her in time. Lula ate quickly, crumbs scattering onto the table. Boo handed her a napkin. After wiping her mouth, Lula playfully reached up and dabbed her mama's nose too. Boo pretended to gasp. They both burst into warm laughter that filled the kitchen. After breakfast, they cleaned up together. They washed the dishes side by side. Lula turned the faucet too strong at first, splashing water everywhere. Boo gently adjusted it. Lula watched carefully, then copied her, slower and more careful this time. Outside in their little yard, Boo hung towels on the clothesline. Lula stretched up on her tiptoes, but couldn't quite reach. So Boo lowered the line. This time, Lula hung her towel successfully and raised both paws in celebration. They swept the yard together. A leaf floated past, distracting Lula as she chased after it. Boo gently handed her the broom again. Lula began sweeping, bouncing to her own rhythm at first, then gradually slowing down, adjusting her steps to match her mama's calm, steady pace. When the chores were done, Boo brushed her paws together. Lula sat down on the front step, breathing hard from all her hard work. Boo handed her a glass of water. Lula held it with both paws, taking small, careful sips before handing it back gently. They sat side by side on a small bench. Lula leaned her head against Boo's shoulder. Boo wrapped her arms around her, a soft little yawn. The peaceful quiet returned, just like in the beginning. Boo carried Lula back to the bedroom and laid her gently on the bed. So Boo lay down beside her. Lula curled up close. The blanket was pulled up. Wrapping them both in familiar warmth. Before long, Lula drifted off to sleep. Boo stayed awake just a little longer, gazing at her daughter's tiny face. She gently rubbed Lula's back in slow, steady motions. Golden sunlight continued to pour into the room, warm and tender. And in that peaceful moment, nothing extraordinary happened. Just love, quietly growing through small acts, gentle touches, and loving glances. Because sometimes, happiness is simply spending a full Sunday morning together. Thank you for sharing this peaceful Sunday with us. Remember to cherish the small moments. Subscribe to Little Cat, Big Lesson.